23:45 hours. The Pentagon National Military Command Center. The secure communication lines glowed amber as the rules of engagement changed forever. 5,000 American sailors in the Persian Gulf were just handed the ultimate green light. Not for retaliation, for preemptive strikes. The ceasefire is officially on life support. President Donald Trump just authorized a midnight attack protocol that could ignite the entire Middle East. But here is what nobody tells you about this order. This is not just another political maneuver. This is a countdown to zero. Every single bomber engine at the air base is already warming up. The target is not just a few radar dishes. The target is the absolute destruction of the Iranian nuclear infrastructure before they can mount a warhead. Run the numbers with me. A single nuclear ballistic missile costs a fraction of what we spend to defend against it. The United States has a massive 25-to-1 force advantage in the region, but that advantage evaporates the second Tehran gets the bomb. We are looking at a 72-hour window before the geopolitical map is rewritten in radioactive fire. International Brent crude oil prices just spiked today right now. It is sitting at exactly $104.21 per barrel. Global energy markets are panicking. If the Strait of Hormuz closes entirely, the global economy collapses in less than a week. The American taxpayer is already bleeding at the pump. President Trump is preparing to suspend the federal gas tax just to keep the domestic economy breathing. But the real cost is measured in steel and blood. What they did not know was that the spark had already been lit exactly 96 hours earlier. May 7th, the Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles of treacherous dark water. This is where 1/5 of the world oil passes every single day. The USS Truxtun, the USS Rafael Peralta, and the USS Mason were conducting routine transit. 3 massive destroyers, a combined combat power of over $5 billion. Then the radar screens erupted. Dozens of inbound contacts materialized from the coastline. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats swarmed the formation. They were armed with heavy machine guns. They thought their speed would overwhelm American defenses. They were dead wrong. The destroyers did not flinch. The order was given to engage the approaching hostile enemy fleet vessels immediately. 38 minutes. That is all it took to transform the perfect ambush into a perfect catastrophe. The USS Mason unleashed its automated defense systems. The close-in weapons system shredded the incoming threat. 8 fast attack boats were vaporized into fiberglass dust. But the enemy did not stop there. They launched a wave of suicide drones directly at the American fleet. Each drone costs roughly $20,000. The Navy uses interceptors that cost over $2 million each. For every dollar Iran spent, taxpayers spent $100 to defend. But the defense was flawless and highly effective. The drones were swatted from the sky. President Trump later described the interception with brutal precision. He said the drones fell beautifully down to the ocean, very much like a butterfly dropping to its grave. But look closer at that statement. It was not just poetry. It was a warning. The military had just executed the opening phase of Project Freedom. This is a massive military operation specifically designed to break the blockade and force the strait wide open. But the destruction of those 8 boats was just the beginning. The Pentagon was about to send a louder message now. And that was the moment everything changed. Central Command did not wait for the smoke to clear. Within hours, American strike aircraft crossed into Iranian airspace. The targets were carefully selected: Qeshm Island and Bandar Abbas. These are the nerve centers of the naval operations. American precision-guided munitions slammed into missile launch sites. They obliterated drone storage facilities. They leveled command centers. The explosions lit up the night sky over the Persian Gulf. It was a devastating display of force. But here is the terrifying part. President Trump called this massive retaliatory strike just a love tap right now. Think about that for a second. Multiple military bases destroyed, millions of dollars of military hardware turned to ash. And the commander-in-chief considers it a warning shot. This reveals the true scale of what the Pentagon has planned next. The rules of engagement have fundamentally shifted. American commanders no longer have to wait to be shot at. If an enemy vessel even looks like it is preparing to attack, American destroyers have the green light to send it to the bottom of the ocean. This preemptive authorization is unprecedented. It removes the hesitation that has plagued operations today. But the adversary is not backing down. On May 11th, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf stepped to the microphone. He publicly defended the 14-point peace proposal. He issued a direct threat to Washington. He warned that dragging out negotiations means the American taxpayers will pay an even heavier price. He was betting that the United States does not have the stomach for a prolonged war. But what he did not realize is that the White House had already made its decision. The diplomatic window had just slammed shut. President Trump convened a high-level emergency meeting very fast now. The date was May 11th. The room was filled with the heavyweights of the administration: Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The agenda was singular. Resume military strikes against Iran. The peace proposal was placed on the table. Trump took one look at the terms and dismissed the entire document as garbage. He called it totally unacceptable. The ceasefire was officially declared to be on life support. The United States was done talking. The Treasury Department immediately launched a devastating financial strike. They issued crushing new sanctions against 3 individuals and 9 companies. These shadow entities were operating out of Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman. Their crime was facilitating the illegal shipment of Iranian oil to China. This is the financial bloodline of the military guard. By cutting off this revenue stream, the United States is starving the war machine. But financial warfare is never enough to stop a nuclear centrifuge. The intelligence community delivered a chilling assessment. Iran is using the cover of these naval skirmishes to accelerate their nuclear enrichment. The Strait of Hormuz crisis is a distraction. While the world watches burning speedboats, scientists are spinning uranium. They are spinning it to weapons-grade levels. This is the ultimate nightmare scenario. If Iran tests a nuclear device, the balance of power in the Middle East shatters overnight. Israel would launch an immediate, uncoordinated strike. Saudi Arabia would scramble for their own bomb. The entire region would plunge into a nuclear arms race. The Pentagon knows this. That is why the preemptive strike authorization is not just about protecting ships. It is about preventing Armageddon. But how exactly do you destroy a nuclear program buried deep inside a mountain? Run the numbers with me one more time now. You have to look back at the classified blueprints of Operation Midnight Hammer. This was the stealth bomber strike plan developed in June 2025. It was designed to completely decapitate the nuclear infrastructure. The plan requires absolute precision and overwhelming firepower. You cannot just drop a standard bomb on the fuel enrichment plant. It is buried beneath 260 feet of solid rock. You need the massive ordnance penetrator. This is a 30,000-pound bunker buster. Only the B-2 Spirit and the B-52 Stratofortress can carry it to the target zone very safely and securely. The weapon is designed to drill through 200 feet of reinforced concrete before detonating. Each bomb costs $3.5 million. The Air Force has stockpiled dozens of them specifically for this exact moment. But here is the catch. The Iranian air defense network is heavily fortified. They have deployed Russian-made surface-to-air missile systems around their critical sites. These radars can detect incoming aircraft from 120 miles away. If a bomber flies into that envelope unescorted, it will be blown out of the sky. The military cannot afford to lose it now. They cannot lose a $100 million bomber and its crew, so the Pentagon developed a multi-layered attack strategy. It starts from the sea. The carrier strike group is positioned in the Arabian Sea. They will launch a massive wave of Tomahawk land attack missiles. Each Tomahawk costs $2 million. They will skim just above the ocean surface, completely invisible to early warning radar. Their targets are the radar dishes and command bunkers. The Tomahawks will blind the Iranian military. They will punch a massive hole in the air defense grid, very fast and very hard today. And that is when the heavy bombers slip through the gap. But what happens if the intelligence is wrong? What if the enemy detects the Tomahawk launch and retaliates before the bombers reach their targets? Iran possesses an arsenal of over 3,000 ballistic missiles. The Shahab-3 has a range of 1,200 miles. It can hit any American base in Iraq, Syria, or Bahrain within 7 minutes. The moment the first American missile leaves its tube, the enemy will unleash a tidal wave of fire across the entire Middle East very quickly and without any warning now. The military has deployed Patriot and THAAD missile defense batteries to protect their forces. The THAAD system has a perfect combat record, but no defense shield is impenetrable. If Iran launches a swarm of 500 missiles simultaneously, the system will be overwhelmed. The math is brutal. If just 5% of the Iranian missiles get through, thousands of American soldiers will die in their sleep. This is the agonizing calculus sitting on the Resolute desk. A preemptive strike guarantees a massive regional war, but doing nothing guarantees a nuclear-armed adversary in the region very soon and very fast. The administration has decided that the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of war. The newly authorized rules of engagement prove this. The United States is no longer playing defense. They are actively hunting enemy assets. Project Freedom is shifting from a defensive escort mission into an aggressive hunter-killer operation. American submarines are currently tracking Iranian diesel-electric subs in the Gulf of Oman. Navy SEAL teams are on standby for covert sabotage missions against coastal radar stations. The entire military apparatus is coiled like a spring. They are waiting for one final command right now. But there is a hidden variable that nobody in Washington wants to talk about. Look at the geopolitical chessboard. China is watching every single move. Beijing is the primary buyer of illicit Iranian oil. The recent Treasury sanctions directly targeted Chinese front companies in Hong Kong. China imports roughly 1.5 million barrels of Iranian crude every single day. If the United States bombs Iran and closes the Strait of Hormuz, the Chinese economy will suffer a catastrophic energy shock. Beijing will not simply sit back and watch their energy supply burn down to the ground very fast today. Chinese naval vessels are already operating in the region under the guise of anti-piracy patrols. If an American preemptive strike triggers a wider war, the Chinese Navy might intervene to protect their oil tankers. This would immediately escalate a regional conflict into a superpower showdown. A direct armed clash between a destroyer and a Chinese guided missile cruiser in the Persian Gulf would trigger World War III. The Pentagon knows this risk. That is why the diplomatic posturing is so aggressive. President Trump is using the threat of overwhelming military force to force Beijing to abandon Tehran right now. By demonstrating that the United States is fully prepared to execute a midnight attack, Washington is telling China to step out of the way. The message is clear. The United States will not allow Iran to cross the nuclear threshold, regardless of the economic fallout. The suspension of the federal gas tax is a domestic shield. It is a preparation for the inevitable economic shockwave. When the bombs fall, oil will shoot past $150 a barrel. The American public will feel the pain. But the administration is betting that the public will accept higher gas prices. They will accept it if it means preventing a nuclear holocaust. Yet the clock is ticking down to zero. Let us walk through the exact timeline of the authorized midnight attack, 0100 hours local time. The skies over the Persian Gulf are pitch black. The first wave consists of stealth fighters taking off from the deck of the carrier. They fly in complete radio silence. Their advanced sensor suites map the coastline in real time. They identify the mobile missile launchers that the enemy has hidden in commercial warehouses. 01:15 hours on the dot right now. The fighters drop their payload. Precision, guided small-diameter bombs obliterate the mobile launchers before the Iranian crews even know they are under attack. 01:30 hours. The Tomahawk swarm arrives. Over 100 cruise missiles impact simultaneously across 40 different air defense sites. The Iranian radar screens go completely blank. The commanders in Tehran are blinded and deafened. 01:45 hours. The heavy bombers enter Iranian airspace. They release the massive ordnance penetrators over the enrichment facilities. The earth shakes as the bunker busters drill deep into the solid bedrock below the surface very fast now. The detonations register on seismographs as localized earthquakes. In less than 60 minutes, 20 years of Iranian nuclear development is reduced to a smoking crater. The mission is a tactical masterpiece, but the morning after is when the true nightmare begins. The enemy will not surrender. They will activate their proxy networks across the globe. Hezbollah will rain rockets down on northern Israel. Houthi rebels will launch a relentless barrage of anti-ship missiles into the Red Sea. The global supply chain will instantly freeze. Commercial shipping companies will refuse to send their vessels through the war zone area today. The economic devastation will be measured in the trillions. This is the reality of the preemptive strike authorization. It is a desperate gamble to solve an impossible problem. The United States Navy has proven they can dominate the tactical engagements. The destruction of the 8 speedboats by the USS Mason was flawless. The interception of the suicide drones was perfect. But tactical victories do not win strategic wars. The 5,000 American sailors deployed in the Persian Gulf are standing on the edge of a knife. They are executing Project Freedom perfectly. But every time they pull the trigger the region inches closer to the abyss. The ceasefire is dead. The peace proposal is garbage. The bombers are fueled and armed. President Trump has drawn a line in the sand that cannot be erased. The midnight attack is no longer a theoretical war game. It is an authorized contingency. But here is the one question that should keep you awake tonight. When the first bunker buster shatters the mountain at Fordow, what exactly will crawl out of the rubble? The world is holding its breath and waiting for the final countdown right now. The escalation ladder has only one direction left: up. The Pentagon knows that a cornered adversary is the most dangerous kind. Iran has spent decades building a network of underground missile cities. These are vast subterranean complexes carved into the Zagros Mountains. They are designed to survive the exact type of midnight attack that Washington is planning. Even if the American bombers destroy the nuclear sites, the conventional missile threat remains intact. This is why the rules of engagement were changed. The military needs to degrade the enemy command structure before the main event happens very soon and very fast. Every single boat destroyed in the Strait of Hormuz is one less asset that can be used in the coming war. Every drone shot down by the USS Mason is data collected for the algorithms. The American combat systems are learning the enemy tactics in real time. But the enemy is learning too. They are probing the American defenses. They are looking for a blind spot in the radar coverage. They are waiting for a sailor to blink. Because in modern naval warfare, a single mistake costs lives. The margin for error is exactly 0% right here and now. And that brings us back to the Oval Office. The decision has been made. The authorization is signed. The preemptive strike is no longer a bluff. It is a loaded weapon pointed directly at Tehran. The financial sanctions are squeezing the life out of their economy. The military strikes are dismantling their naval infrastructure. The diplomatic channels are burned to the ground. There is no off-ramp left on this highway. The world is about to witness the most destructive display of American military power since the invasion of Iraq. The only question remaining is when the order drops today. When that order drops, the sky will turn to fire. The bunker busters will shatter the mountains. The global economy will hold its breath, and thousands of American sailors will brace for the impact of a lifetime. This is not a drill. This is the brutal reality of modern geopolitics. The ceasefire is over, the midnight attack is coming, and nobody can stop the chain reaction that has already begun. You are watching history being written in real time. Make sure you understand the stakes. Because tomorrow morning, the world might look very different than it does right now today. Watch closely.